Right, so this video is a bit of a special one. We're off to France. We're travelling actually in the morning, but I thought I'd do this brief intro. When you're choosing a venue in France, you do all the research at home. That's all you can do really, word of mouth from people who have visited before. And we've come together to decide on going to Lake Juvanze Blue. I've heard really good things. Lucky enough to have actually a few people on my friends list who have been there before. I've been talking to them, getting some advice, tips from their experiences. So get out there and walk around and see if we can put some of those into our own fishing. Everything we can do on our part, preparation, bait, has all been done. We'll get out there and do our best and see how we get on. Let's go. So we just arrived at Lake Juvanze. Got Mike the bailiff with us. He'll tell us a little bit about it. I think last week they had it off, didn't they?
Yeah, they had 75 fish last week. Well, good fish, good week.
Mad, so hopefully they're still in the mood. We'll find out. How many fish would you say is in this Lake Juvanze Blue?
185 plus, probably 200. Mixture of commons and mirrors, predominantly mirrors.
Any nuisance fish or anything to worry about?
No fish to worry about that cause you many problems. There's a big bream or two in here, but they are very few and far between.
And there's other things you got in here that look alien-like.
Big head carp, they go to 85 pound in here. You see them cruising, they'll make big bow waves. If you want to catch them, they're pretty difficult, but you can get them on zigs and bottom baits occasionally.
See what happens. All right, we better get the rods out, but
okay.
Really nice meeting you, and thanks for having us.
Have a good week.
After a brief insight into the lake by Mike, it was time for us to have a walk around it ourselves for the first time. And we did this a couple of times, just looking for signs of fish in areas that we felt could be productive. A bit of watercraft, if you like. And we also knew that after we'd done a few walks, we were going to go back to the hut and have a little friendly draw to see who got first, second and third choice of swims. And the draw was very kind to me. I managed to come out first, John second and Lewis third. I opted for a swim that didn't get fished last week in the hope that no pressure in that area, no lines coming out of there would have pushed some fish in there and I could nick some quick bites. That was my thinking behind it. I'd also seen a couple close in. John come out second. He was really torn up between peg 5 and peg 3. In the end, he went for peg 5. We saw a few fish in the open water, and also the margin looked really, really good for a bit of fishing. You know, when you go to a lake, first time you see it and you think that area's got to produce the goods, and that's what appealed to John. And Lewis saw signs of fish, so there was fish in his areas. We'd seen them moving up and down. We'd also seen the bottom getting a bit churned up. So Lewis went in peg 3. We actually all got pretty much our first choice peg, which was good. Doing that, though, left an area of the lake with no lines in. And we weren't too fussed about that because we're not ones to just sit somewhere and camp for a whole week. And we wanted to see how the fish would react to the lines. Obviously, last week, they were very active. The group did very well, so they were on the bait and they were just interested in feeding and let their guard down. If that continued, we might be able to attack it this way. If not, we'll have to reshuffle later on in the week. So after the draw, the plan was to go round together, mapping out the lake. We were still in no rush to get the rods out, really. And this would help us later on in the week if we was moving. We basically tried to map out as much of it as possible, working as a team. We used a deeper sonar rather than going around with a marker and lines and putting them out in the water. We opted for the sonar, embracing technology. Things are moving forward. So we mapped it out, finding out depths, looking at areas that we're possibly looking to fish, looking at areas that we might move on, and if a fish shows on an area that we've mapped out later, great, we're going to know the depths and that. And when it comes to actually fishing them, that's when we'll put a lead out and we'll feel the bottom, feel the dunk, see how firm it is and stuff. But in general, it's pretty clear, and it was just a gauge of getting what's what around the lake. And after doing that, it was time to give them some bait and feed some areas. So we walked around, feeding a few areas, a few spots that we fancied, give them a bit of bait in preparation for the week to come. We opted to fish a mixture of boilie and particle. We did a bit more on some spots of particle, a bit more of boilie and others, and we'd see if any outfish the other, and over the course of the week we'd make the changes if necessary. Then we headed back to the hut to do some rig preparation, and we opted to fish mainly slow sinking snowmans and wafter rigs. And if, you know, these didn't work or we didn't feel we were getting as many bites as we should have, we'd tweak these accordingly throughout the week. This is how we set out to approach Lake Juvanze Blue. Now it's time to try and outwit some of its stunning carp.
First one of the trip, Saturday night. Yeah, so when we got here, we saw them showing a little bit. Yeah, buzzing. It's always nice to get the first one out of the way. That's normally the hardest. So yeah, well chuffed. Just landed these two 20s, and yeah, one's stocky and one's quite lean. Not the biggest in the lake, but yeah, it's a good start. So let's hope they get on it. Alright, fish number 4 of the group, 3510 mirror. Yeah, I was just looking in the margins and it just, see the bottom getting teared up. And yeah, my rod screamed off, and yeah, I had to run back and landed this beauty. Well chuffed, yeah. Still not among them 50s yet, but there's still time.
For a PB, that's what I really want, and I think we've done it. I'm not sure, but these boys are screaming that we've done it. So
buzzing, mate.
fuck that 50.
That's a PB, mate.
That's a 50.
52, mate. Bang on.
Just confirm, is that a friend's PB?
That's a PB. Yes. Come on, man. That's what I come for. I don't care what happens now. Mate. So boys, 52 pounds of Lake Juvanze Blue mirror carp. Get in. Come on.
Congrats on the PB, mate. Well done, mate. Well done.
£31, 4 ounces, second fish of the trip. Happy days. I think we're on 7 fish now. Hopefully they're waking up. Let's get her back and try and get daddy. Third fish of the trip, we're on 9 fish now. There you have it. £41, 12 ounces. Get in.
Well done, mate.
So I've had 3 fish quite quickly, but I've gone 24 hours without a fish. I know it's crazy, but I've seen them top in and in the other corner, and I'm stupid not to go on them. They might turn up here in 24 hours, but another 24 hours, but do I want to sit and wait? No, I don't. I'm going to go there and I'm going to head straight to the peg one, get the rods out, and hopefully it will pay up pretty quickly. Yeah, I'm excited. I've got a feeling someone's going to move in my swim in 24 hours, but we'll see. Move swim, and yeah, it paid off. On the first night, I've landed 2 fish. This is the first one, 33.5, sorry. Right, so here's the 5th fish. Went 42 pounds, so yeah, it was bigger. So I'm well chuffed with that. Biggest fish of the session. Yeah, 2 within the space of literally 10 minutes. So sometimes it does pay to move, even if you're in France. It's just the same as home. And yeah, right result.
Common.
Right, 6 fish of the session, and it went 42.8. So yeah, buzzing with this. We're just about to get her back. I'm still buzzing, and he is probably ready to kick off about now.
So exactly like Lewis, I'd gone a little well without fish now, and as soon as Lewis left the bay the other end, 12 hours later, the fish got back in there. So as soon as the lines come out, they're definitely shying off lines this week. Like I say, last week that wasn't the case. The fishing was a bit different, so we've had to adapt to how the fishing is this week. A move's definitely on the cards. I've spoke to Lewis and said, does he want to go back in there? You know, he baited up a few areas. He's happy staying where he is. He can still see signs of a few. So I'm going to have a shower, head round there and get the lines out. By doing this now and the reshuffle, hopefully it will give them nowhere to go and we can bounce them off each other a bit better. John can cover the water that I was covering, so that doesn't leave that area spare, and I'll be covering that bay. Lewis up the other end. It's a lot more of a spaced out setup where we're covering all the water. First of all, we started off similar to last week, seeing if they wanted their food. That's paid off with fish here and there, but we've had to stay active. Lewis has had to stay active to get on and move, and I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to sit here waiting for it to happen. I'm going to try and make it happen.
Pays off to move swim, doesn't it?
Well done, mate. There she is, 34 pounds. Juvanze Lake Blue, starting to give us our rewards now. Right, 38 pounds. Let's have it. And Lewis has got a unit. We're going to have a look at it in a bit.
Right, I moved swim yesterday. I've had 3 fish, lost 2, unfortunately. Got quite a bit of weed in front of me. Yeah, we were just taking pictures. Daniel moved today. He's just had a 34 mirror. And yeah, I'm just about to land my 4th fish. I've just seen it, it looks big. Mate, so when you see him, if you lose them, that's it. As soon as I get him up, he's coming in now. Won't fit in the net. So right, let's get her weighed. As you can see the shoulders of her, she's a unit. If I just get her onto her side just a little, that's a bit of an example. Right, 52, just landed this beauty. Yep, like I said, move swim, and yeah, it's paid off. I'm in the 50 club. The French 50 club, it's not the same, but it's still just as good. Right, buzzing with this one. Lovely. Right, let's get her back. Literally buzzing. Right, here she is, 34.8. The rod just screamed off. And yeah, managed to get her in. Tangled one of my other lines up, but yeah, it's all good. That's out now. So yeah, let's get her back. And hopefully try and catch one more. Wasn't too sure I was going to have anything tonight because they started showing up the other side of the lake when I moved out of my swim. Daniel sort of paid off there by moving into it. I'll let him tell you about that later on, but yeah. Still managed to nick this little common. It's not the biggest in the lake, but yeah, I'm still happy. Hopefully, fingers crossed tonight pays off.
Little chunky common. Not going to weigh her, just get her back, but yeah. Probably just as hard to catch one this size as it is to catch a big, and I don't think there's many of them swimming about. But we'll get her back and hopefully hope for Mummy to come in. Number 7 for me. Hopefully we'll see another carp before we go home, which has been a tough week. We've definitely worked for everyone we've got.
Ninth fish of the session. Just had this beauty. Had it in the net, got the other rod ready, slang it out on the same spot, and yeah, I've got another fish in the sling now, just ready to do photos. So it does pay off. It don't matter where you are. If you're in France, it's exactly the same as how you fish at home. Get the rod back on the money. 36.4. Little chunk. Didn't want to come in either. We weren't happy. Corey doing me proud again.
Have you had a fish on Corey's rod already?
I've had 2. This is going to be the second fish if I get this in. Corey, when you watch this, I've had this on your rod. If I get it in. Right, so here she is, 37.6, so it's slightly bigger than the other one. I'm still happy, I'm not going to complain. It's another little chunk on the mat. While we're talking about mats, the fishery does provide them. So they provide the mats, high quality slings and landing nets, so you don't need to bring them. Why they do that is because they're safeguarding the fish. And another plus, your car ain't going to smell on the way home. That's if you have a few. I'm sure you will, it's a lovely venue. A little bit of a cut at the bottom of her belly and just where the hook is, so we're just going to get her that treated before she goes back.
There you go, 44 pounds, 8 ounces of chunky Juvanze Lake mirror. Absolute unit of a French fish. I don't know what he's been eating, but yeah, I can't even get that belly out of the water. Let's get her home. Yeah! £40, 8 ounces of long, lean Juvanze mirror. Well done, mate. Work for that one.
Mate, it's beautiful though. So we had that typical French carp earlier, and now we've had this not so typical French carp. Look at that, like a torpedo. Lovely scales, really happy with it.
Nice, see the shoulders on that, Daddy? That's a better fish.
Don't know, that by that bow thing,
That's a good fish, mate.
by that plump,
Dark and also dark grey, mate.
that's decent. That's a chunk. Chunky monkey. That could potentially be another little fatty unit. You just see me playing another fish. The target was a 50. I really wanted to catch a 50 in France. That was my target. And I've done that on Sunday. And guess what? Just had another one. And I'm absolutely buzzing. This is a little bit of a different character, but it's that 5114. Get in! Right, so it's our last night at Lake Juvanzé. We've had quite a good day, really. We've all moved around to
lie, you have.
£51, 14 ounces. Buzzing. Gonna have to put her down because she's hurting the back.